My dear friends, my brothers and sisters, I stand before you today to ask a simple yet powerful question. It may seem like an odd question, one that doesn't come up in casual conversation, but let me tell you this: true change, true healing, true success all begin with the answer to this question. My name is Muniba Mazari, and I am a motivational speaker. If you are new at my channel, subscribe and start a new journey with me. We live in a world where we're taught to love others, to care for those around us, to give and give and give. We're raised to believe that being selfless is the highest form of kindness, the ultimate way to lead a meaningful life. But in this process, somewhere along the way, we forget the most important person, ourselves. So today, I want to talk to you about self-love. I want to remind you that loving yourself is not selfish. It's not an act of vanity. It's a foundation. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot uplift others if you're not uplifted yourself. I think about it for a moment. How many times have you looked in the mirror and found flaws? How many times have you criticized your appearance, your abilities, or even your choices? We're often our harshest critics. But what if, instead of focusing on the imperfections, we embrace them? Self-love doesn't mean you have to be perfect. In fact, perfection is a myth. It's the cracks, the scars, the bruises that make us human. Every flaw, every struggle, every experience shapes us, teaches us, and makes us who we are. We must embrace those parts of ourselves with the same love and compassion we would give to a friend or a loved one. Loving yourself means forgiving yourself. It means acknowledging that you've made mistakes, but that those mistakes don't define you. They're just chapters in your story, and you're the author of your life. Your story is far from over, and you hold the pen. Loving yourself also means taking care of yourself not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It means setting boundaries, saying no when you need to, and surrounding yourself with people who lift you higher. It means practicing kindness toward yourself, just as you would toward anyone else. You see, the relationship we have with ourselves is the most important relationship we'll ever have. It's the foundation upon which everything else is built. If we don't love ourselves, we cannot expect others to love us in the way we deserve. We teach people how to treat us by the way we treat ourselves. I know that sometimes it's hard to love ourselves, especially when the world around us is constantly telling us to be something we're not. But I urge you to resist that pressure. Don't let society's standards define your worth. You are enough, exactly as you are, right now. So let me ask you again, do you love yourself? I hope the answer is yes. But if it's not, that's okay. Start with small steps. Speak kindly to yourself. Treat yourself with respect. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small. And above all, remember that you are worthy of love simply because you exist. Self-love is the foundation of all growth and healing. It's a concept that many people misunderstand, often confusing it with arrogance, vanity, or selfishness. However, the truth is that self-love is an essential, transformative force that influences every aspect of our lives. It's not about elevating ourselves above others or seeking validation from external sources. It's about recognizing our intrinsic worth and treating ourselves with the kindness, compassion, and respect that we deserve. It's the very bedrock upon which we build a healthy and fulfilling life. Without self-love, growth becomes stunted and healing becomes nearly impossible. At its core, self-love is the acknowledgement of our own value. It's about realizing that we're deserving of care, acceptance, and happiness simply because we exist. Too often, we're taught to look for validation outside ourselves from our parents, peers, partners, or society. We're told that our worth is determined by external factors: how we look, how successful we are, how much we give to others. However, true self-love has nothing to do with meeting external expectations or fitting into a mold. It's about accepting ourselves as we are, with all our strengths, weaknesses, flaws, and beauty. Only when we love ourselves can we begin to heal and grow, both as individuals and as part of the larger community. Self-love provides the foundation for personal growth. Growth begins from within. When we're able to love and accept ourselves, we open the door to self-awareness and self-improvement. We stop seeking validation from others and learn to trust our own judgment and decisions. We become more comfortable with change and more resilient in the face of adversity. It's only when we love ourselves that we're able to set healthy boundaries, make choices that align with our values, and take the risks necessary for our personal development. Without self-love, we remain stagnant, clinging to unhealthy patterns, relationships, and habits that prevent us from reaching our full potential. When we recognize our worth, we create the space to evolve and grow into the best version of ourselves. Self-love also plays a critical role in the healing process. Life is filled with challenges, hardships, and painful experiences that can leave deep emotional scars. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, a traumatic event, or the weight of everyday struggles, we all experience pain in some form. In these moments, it's easy to fall into self-blame or self-pity. We may question our worth or believe that we're unworthy of love or happiness. But healing can only begin when we stop punishing ourselves for our pain and start treating ourselves with the compassion we would offer to a friend in a similar situation. Self-love provides the space for healing by encouraging us to acknowledge our pain without judgment, to be kind to ourselves during difficult times, and to take the necessary steps to care for our emotional, physical, and mental well-being. It's only when we embrace ourselves fully, pain, flaws, and all that we can begin the process of healing. The lack of self-love can have a profound impact on our relationships. When we don't love ourselves, we cannot truly love others. We may seek validation and approval from those around us, often sacrificing our own needs and desires in the process. We may tolerate toxic relationships or allow ourselves to be mistreated because we believe that we don't deserve better. Alternatively, we may find ourselves constantly trying to prove our worth to others, seeking external validation rather than cultivating a sense of inner peace and self-acceptance. On the other hand, when we love ourselves, we attract healthier relationships. We establish clear boundaries, communicate our needs and desires effectively, and treat others with the same respect and kindness we show ourselves. Self-love enables us to recognize that we're worthy of love, respect, and care, and it empowers us to build meaningful, supportive connections with those who truly value us. Self-love also plays a crucial role in mental and emotional well-being. When we love ourselves, we're better equipped to manage stress, anxiety, and negative emotions. We don't allow our self-worth to be defined by external circumstances or the opinions of others. Instead, we cultivate an inner sense of peace and resilience that helps us navigate life's challenges. Self-love is the antidote to self-doubt, fear, and insecurity. It helps us develop a positive self-image, and it encourages us to treat ourselves with compassion when we make mistakes or experience setbacks. When we're kind to ourselves, we're more likely to practice self-care, which is essential for maintaining good mental health. This includes activities such as mindfulness, exercise, and spending time doing things that bring us joy. Without self-love, it becomes difficult to prioritize our well-being or recognize when we need rest, support, or care. Self-love is the key to accepting and embracing our imperfections. None of us are perfect. We all have flaws, weaknesses, and areas in which we can improve. However, when we love ourselves, we accept these imperfections as part of who we are. We don't judge ourselves harshly or feel the need to hide our flaws from the world. Instead, we view our imperfections with kindness and understanding. This acceptance allows us to let go of the unrealistic standards of perfection that society often imposes upon us. It frees us from the pressure to constantly meet external expectations, and it allows us to be more authentic and genuine in our interactions with others. When we embrace our imperfections, we create space for self-compassion and growth, rather than self-criticism and shame. In addition to being the foundation of personal growth and healing, self-love also has a profound impact on our ability to achieve our goals and dreams. When we love ourselves, we believe in our own abilities. We trust that we're capable of overcoming obstacles, taking risks, and pursuing the things that truly matter to us. Self-love gives us the courage to step outside of our comfort zones and challenge ourselves to be better, do better, and achieve more. It helps us stay motivated and resilient in the face of setbacks, knowing that our worth is not determined by our achievements or failures. Instead, we're driven by an internal sense of purpose and passion, not the need for external recognition or approval. Self-love fuels our confidence, and it empowers us to chase our dreams with determination and enthusiasm. Self-love is also essential for maintaining a balanced and fulfilling life. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. The demands of work, relationships, and responsibilities can easily overwhelm us. But when we love ourselves, we recognize the importance of balance. We understand that our well-being should be a priority, and we make time for self-care and self-reflection. This may involve setting aside time for activities that bring us joy, pursuing hobbies that nourish our soul, or simply taking a break when we feel burned out. Self-love encourages us to listen to our bodies, minds, and hearts, and to give ourselves the rest and care we need to recharge. It's only when we make self-love a priority that we're able to create a life that is not only successful but also meaningful and fulfilling. In a world that often emphasizes achievement, productivity, and external validation, it's easy to forget the importance of self-love. But this mindset is a trap. True fulfillment and success come not from what we achieve, but from who we are and how we treat ourselves along the way. When we love ourselves, we're free from the pressure to conform to societal standards and expectations. We're free to pursue our own path, to live authentically, and to embrace our unique qualities and gifts. Self-love is not a one-time achievement or a destination. It's an ongoing process, a daily practice. It requires patience, dedication, and self-awareness. It may not always be easy, especially when we face difficult circumstances or when the world around us is unkind. But the more we cultivate self-love, the stronger we become. It's the key to unlocking our potential, to healing our wounds, and to living a life of purpose, passion, and peace. So let us make the conscious decision to love ourselves, to honor our worth, and to create a foundation of self-love that will support us through every challenge and triumph that lies ahead. Take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically. This may sound simple, yet it's one of the most important and often overlooked aspects of living a balanced and fulfilling life. In the rush of daily responsibilities, work pressures, and personal commitments, it's easy to neglect our well-being. However, taking care of ourselves in all dimensions, mental, emotional, and physical, is not just a luxury or an indulgence. It's a necessity for leading a life that is truly healthy, vibrant, and meaningful. When we prioritize self-care across all areas of our being, we're better equipped to handle life's challenges, to pursue our passions, and to show up fully for the people we care about. The mental aspect of self-care is crucial because our thoughts and beliefs shape how we experience the world. When we neglect our mental well-being, it can lead to stress, anxiety, and a constant sense of overwhelm. Mental self-care involves creating space to manage our thoughts, practice mindfulness, and cultivate a positive mindset. It's about recognizing when our minds are racing, when we're overburdened with worry, or when we're caught in negative thought patterns, and taking steps to calm and center ourselves. Engaging in practices such as meditation, journaling, or simply taking moments of stillness throughout the day can help to alleviate mental clutter and promote clarity. By taking care of our mental health, we develop greater resilience, the ability to focus on what truly matters, and the strength to face difficult situations with calm and composure. Emotional self-care is equally important because our emotions are powerful indicators of how we're processing our experiences. We often feel pressure to suppress, deny, or ignore our emotions in an effort to appear strong or composed. Yet this approach can lead to emotional burnout, resentment, and a disconnect from our authentic selves. Emotional self-care is about acknowledging and honoring our feelings, both the positive and the challenging ones. It means creating space to feel, to process, and to understand our emotions, rather than bottling them up or dismissing them as unimportant. By regularly checking in with ourselves, we can learn to identify our emotional needs and take proactive steps to address them. This may include seeking support from a friend, expressing ourselves creatively, or engaging in therapeutic practices that allow us to work through unresolved emotions. When we take care of our emotional well-being, we build a greater sense of self-awareness and self-acceptance, which leads to healthier relationships with others and a deeper connection to our own feelings. Taking care of ourselves physically is perhaps the most widely understood form of self-care, but it's no less important. Our bodies are the vessels that carry us through life, and if we neglect their needs, we risk compromising our overall well-being. Physical self-care involves nourishing our bodies with the right foods, staying active, getting adequate rest, and addressing any health concerns that may arise. It's easy to fall into unhealthy habits, especially when life becomes hectic, But prioritizing our physical health pays off in the long run. Regular exercise helps to reduce stress, improve mood, and boost energy levels, while a balanced diet supports both physical vitality and mental clarity. Adequate sleep is also essential, as it allows our bodies to recharge and restore. Without proper sleep, we become more susceptible to illness, and our mental and emotional health can suffer as well. Physical self-care also means listening to our bodies when they're telling us to rest or seek medical attention. Ignoring physical discomfort or pushing ourselves too hard can lead to long-term damage and unnecessary suffering. These three dimensions of self-care, mental, emotional, and physical, are interconnected and mutually reinforcing. When we take care of one area, it has a positive impact on the others. For example, regular physical activity not only strengthens the body, but also improves mental clarity and boosts emotional well-being by releasing endorphins, the body's natural mood lifters. Conversely, practicing mindfulness or engaging in emotional processing can reduce mental stress and help regulate physical responses to anxiety. When we're out of balance in one area, it affects the others. If we neglect our mental health, it can lead to physical exhaustion and emotional instability. If we neglect our emotional health, we may struggle with mental focus or experience physical symptoms like headaches or tension. Therefore, self-care must be approached holistically, addressing all areas of our being with equal attention and care. It's important to recognize that self-care is not a selfish act. In fact, taking care of ourselves allows us to show up more fully for others. When we're mentally, emotionally, and physically well, we have the energy, patience, and compassion to support those around us. We become more effective in our personal and professional lives, and we're better able to handle the demands of everyday life. By making time for self-care, we create a strong foundation for ourselves that enables us to be more present, more focused, and more resilient in the face of life's challenges. Another key aspect of self-care is setting boundaries. Often, we become overwhelmed because we struggle to say no or to set limits with others, whether it's at work, in relationships, or in social obligations. Setting clear boundaries is essential for maintaining our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. When we fail to set boundaries, we risk burnout and resentment. By learning to say no when necessary and protecting our time and energy, we ensure that we have enough left to care for ourselves and pursue the things that bring us joy and fulfillment. Boundaries aren't about being rigid or unkind. They're about protecting our inner peace and preserving our capacity to be our best selves. Self-care is not a one-size-fits-all practice. What works for one person may not work for another, and it's important to find the self-care practices that resonate most with us as individuals. Some may find peace and renewal in solitude, while others may benefit from spending time with loved ones. Some may prefer physical activities like yoga or running, while others may prioritize creative expression or spiritual practices. The key is to make self-care a consistent and intentional part of our lives. It's not about finding the perfect routine, but rather about making time for the activities that nurture our minds, bodies, and hearts in a way that feels good to us. By prioritizing mental, emotional, and physical self-care, we create a life that is more grounded, centered, and aligned with our true selves. We develop the tools to handle life's challenges with grace, and we create the space to experience greater joy, fulfillment, and peace. The practice of self-care is not something we do once in a while. It's something we incorporate into our daily lives. When we make self-care a priority, we acknowledge that we're worthy of love, attention, and care. And we recognize that by taking care of ourselves, we're ultimately better able to care for others and contribute positively to the world around us. Believe in your potential. This is the foundation for every accomplishment and every breakthrough. It's easy to feel limited by the circumstances of our lives, by the voices of doubt within us, or by the opinions of others. Many of us grow up with narratives that tell us who we are, what we can achieve, and how far we can go. These narratives can often be limiting, constricting us into a box that defines our potential based on past experiences, societal expectations, or the failures we've encountered. But true growth comes from understanding that our potential is not defined by any of these external factors. Our potential is something deeply inherent, something boundless and ever-evolving. When we believe in our potential, we give ourselves permission to dream bigger, to aim higher, and to step into challenges with confidence. Belief in ourselves is not about arrogance or overconfidence. Rather, it's about recognizing the incredible power and possibility within us. It's about trusting that we're capable of much more than we often give ourselves credit for. Belief in our potential allows us to break free from self-imposed limitations and to begin taking the necessary steps to turn our dreams into reality. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate this belief is by shifting our mindset. Often, the biggest barrier to realizing our potential is the fear of failure. We avoid taking risks because we fear falling short or not being good enough. But it's essential to remember that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of the process. Failure doesn't mean that we're incapable or that we have no potential. It means that we're learning and growing. The most successful people aren't the ones who never fail, but the ones who keep going despite their setbacks. The ones who embrace failure as a lesson rather than a defeat. Belief in our potential means understanding that every setback is an opportunity to refine our skills, to build resilience, and to grow stronger. To believe in our potential, we must also let go of comparison. In a world filled with social media, constant messaging about what success looks like, and the pressures of society, it's easy to compare ourselves to others. We look at someone else's achievements and think, "Why can't I do that?" Or, "I'm not as talented as they are." Comparison, however, is the thief of joy and confidence. Everyone's journey is unique, and our potential is not limited by someone else's success. What we see on the surface rarely reflects the full story, the years of hard work, the sacrifices, the failures, and the challenges that person faced to get to where they are. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, we must learn to trust that our path is our own, and that our potential is distinct and worthy of recognition. Many of us carry limiting beliefs from our upbringing, from past experiences, or from people around us. We may believe that we're not smart enough, not talented enough, or not worthy of success. These beliefs can become so ingrained in our minds that they dictate our actions, or worse, our inaction. However, these beliefs are not truths. They're simply stories we've told ourselves, often based on fear, rejection, or disappointment. To believe in our potential, we must rewrite these stories. We must challenge the negative thoughts and replace them with affirmations of our strength, our ability, and our worth. It's not enough to just think positively. We must act in ways that reinforce our belief in ourselves. When we take small steps outside our comfort zone, when we push past fear and doubt, we begin to create a new narrative that affirms our potential and capability. Another crucial aspect of believing in our potential is setting clear goals and taking actionable steps toward them. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the vastness of our dreams, to look at the long road ahead and feel discouraged by how far we have to go. But true belief in our potential doesn't mean expecting everything to happen instantly. It means having faith that every small effort we make is part of a larger picture, that every little action, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is bringing us closer to our goal. By breaking down our dreams into manageable steps, we build confidence as we accomplish each one. With every goal achieved, our belief in our ability grows, and we start to see our potential realized in tangible ways. In addition, believing in your potential requires surrounding yourself with a supportive environment. People's words and actions can either elevate our belief in ourselves or diminish it. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my dear.